spoken, it seemed to me sometimes sadly, about retirement. Do you still think of retirement?
Oh, I wanted to, but I thought about my children. I watched the baby cry another day, and my wife was late giving the baby milk, and the baby raised hell. Ah! Just hollering. Don't know where they're going to get it, but they just expect you to have it. And I looked at about 6 more coming, and I said, 10 years from now, I won't be fighting. 10 years from now, that baby will just be 10 years old. And I'll need money. He'll need school books. He'll need clothes, bus fare. And then 20 years from now, my daughter need a house or she'll need a job. And it'll be shame to say, Muhammad Ali's daughter, a waitress in a restaurant. He made all of those millions. Oh, there's his son over there in here. What I'm trying to say, I can earn enough money in 5 years if I invest it and put it up right to take care of my grandchildren. So I wanted to retire, but after I see these children coming, and after I see that they're going to have a hard time, maybe they won't be blessed to make it like myself, I can knock out Blue Lewis, I can go knock out Floyd Patterson, I can knock out Joe Frazier, I can come back and knock out and if you get your Irish champion, come knock him out, then I can go back over here and knock some, didn't get too much of a laugh on that, did I?
You're in Ireland. Agreed.
So what I'm trying to say, if I can save up about $2 million, which is about how many pounds? People.
That's almost £1 million.
Almost $1 million. If I can save up £1 million, then I can relax and go to sleep and retire and don't have to worry about my children, because this is a hard world. Don't nobody give you nothing. You have to work for it. Right?
Right.
So I'm blessed to be able to beat up everybody. So I want to beat up everybody until I can't beat them no more. If I can go 10 more years, I'm going to keep on doing it.
Good. Most of your poems, like the one you spoke a few moments ago, are funny. But you've written one about your own people, I think at the time of the Attica prison riot. It's a serious poem. You have certainly very serious moments, as you've shown us tonight. Could you, before we go, just say that poem for us?
Oh, this poem explains the Attica prison. You heard that over here when all the black prisoners were shot, and just before they held some white hostages, and they said they would cut the throats if they didn't get what they wanted. And the word was, well, if the throats are cut, then shoot and kill everybody. They found out during the autopsy that the throats were not cut. They just shot them for nothing. The trigger-happy policeman, and that Rockefeller gave word 10 minutes or so, if they don't give up, I think it's the way it went, open fire. And one black prisoner came out to speak to the warden, and he said, you have 10 minutes to surrender. What's your reply? We're going to come in shooting. And the black prisoner came out, poetic poem. This didn't happen, but this is what I wrote. He said, better far from all I see, to die fighting to be free. What more fitting end could be? Better surely than in some bed where in broken health I'm led, lingering until I'm dead. Better than with prayers and pleas are in the clutch of some disease, wasting slowly by degrees. Better than of heart attack are some dose of drug I lack. Let me die by being black. Better far that I should go, standing here against the foe, is the sweeter death to know. Better than the bloody stain on some highway where I'm lame, torn by flying glass and pain. Better call in death to come than to die another dumb, muted victim in the slum. Better than of this prison rot, if there's any choice I've got. Kill me here on the spot. Better far my fight to wage now while my blood boils with rage, lest it cool with ancient age. Better violent for us to die than to Uncle Tom and try, making peace just to live a lie. Better now that I say my sooth, I'm gonna die demanding truth while I'm still akin to youth. Better now than later on, now that fear of death is gone, never mind another dawn. They opened fire on them, but they died telling it like it was.
Tonight we have as a guest in the studio a man of whom Time magazine once wrote, he is Hercules struggling through the 12 labors. He is Jason chasing the golden fleece. He is Galahad, Cyrano, D'Artagnan. When he scowls, strong men shudder, and when he smiles, women swoon. The mysteries of the universe are his toys. He rattles the thunder, and he looses the lightning. Well, he's loosed a lot of lightning in his day, and he's going to loose some more of it tomorrow night in Croke Park. There's no man in the world, I think, whose name is more synonymous with sport today. He says he's the greatest, and maybe he is. I'm certainly not going to argue with him about that. And he says he's the prettiest. Ladies and gentlemen, will you welcome, please, Muhammad Ali. Well, do you think he is the prettiest?
No. I didn't say that. I don't know how that got out.
I wonder. Muhammad, you certainly look fit.
Thank you.
Have you been training very hard?
Yes, I've been working constantly now since my last fight with Joe Frazier, fighting every other month or two. And I just boxed Jerry Quarry, a top-notch fighter. I was in good shape for him. I fought him the first time, he was troubled, but the second time, a lot of the rust was off of him. And the reason he was troubled the first time was because that was my first fight in a 4-year layoff.
All right.
And so I'm ready now. I'm still active, and I just needed to wipe a little dust off of me since the Quarry fight. I sat down a few days to rest, and I'm ready now.
You're doing a lot of fighting.
Well, yes, I think the boxing game should stay alive. I think every contender should get a shot at the title. The new champ, Joe Frazier, is not doing nothing, fighting once every 7 months, and fighting people that you could beat. And you can't fight, so
You're so right.
I have to keep the game alive because I'm the true champion.
How do you feel about the fight with Al Blue Lewis?
Well, I'm fighting Lewis for one reason, mainly because Frazier won't fight him. George Foreman, top-notch fighter, won't fight him. Jerry Quarry wouldn't fight him. And with most boxers and managers, this is just a business, and they figure, well, they got a top contender, and he's barely on top, and they don't want to take a chance and lose unless they're paid great. And top-notch fighters fighting Blue Lewis can't receive the proper pay because he's not famous, but yet he's got a chance of beating them, and they have nothing to gain but everything to lose. So I'm fighting him because everybody else is ducking him, and he is a good fighter. Plus, it'll be kind of hard to bring a top-notch, high-ranking fighter here because the price couldn't be put up. So
What sort of a chance does he have with you?
2 chances,
What are they?
slim and none.
I asked for that one. Angelo Dundee has just handed me a piece of paper to say that you hope to go to fight in Tehran in about 3 weeks' time.
Iran and Tehran, yes, we're going to just exhibition, government invitation, and we're working on it now.
So your next big fight, really, I suppose, is with Patterson.
Floyd Patterson, right, the rabbit.
A rabbit?
I call him the rabbit.
Why is that?
All the way he fights, and he calls me Clay, and the name is now Muhammad Ali. He still insists on Clay, so I'll call him the rabbit. Plus, I'm gonna fight the rabbit in the garden, Madison
Square Garden, of course. You then go on to fight Frazier, I gather.
Yes, if he comes out of hiding. He bought a plantation down in South Carolina, some chicken plantation. I know he's a slave, but he don't have to buy plantations. But
What do you really feel about him?
well, he's a good slugger. He's not scientific. He's rough. Physically, I know I beat him. I won 9 rounds. He's already ugly, and I beat him so bad that night. I beat him so bad, and he was so ugly after that fight, his face should have been donated to the Bureau of Wildlife.
You know, he toured here with a show.
I heard he flopped like he do everywhere else. He's got a singing group called the Knockouts, and he thought because they gave him my title, he could go everywhere and draw people and get rich. and I understand he draws 80 people or maybe 1,000 people in the 20,000 seat arena. In London, in a 4,000 seat arena, he drew 12 people.
Well, he
And
did.
had the nerve to keep on with the show.
He did a little better here. He got 87 at one, actually, and I think
Yeah.
1,041 at his.
And
at
I
his
know I can
biggest.
beat him singing, but I don't call myself a singer. I can come here and fill every place because the people know who the real champion is.
But you have been a singer too. I mean, you had a show called Buck White, didn't you?
Yes, I was in a play called Big Time Buck White, and black militant play of problems that we have in America. The play was a flop, but I was a hit. The play lasted 6 days, but the worst critics, my part was a hit. I want to get that straight.
Why is it, do you think, that you draw the crowds of all the sportsmen in the world? That you are
Well,
a
mainly-
great crowd drawer.
Mainly personality's got a lot to do with it. Personality, like a salesman's business, depends entirely on his personality. If he's rude and unsympathetic, and then the buyer will hope that he goes away and never come back. But very often, if the salesman is good, he can make a person buy when they don't even intend to. Same with a doctor. He might be the best of doctors. He might have many patients and give them all the medicine he wants. But if his personality is not really right, then his medicine won't make him feel that good. His personality make him feel worse. But very often, a wise doctor can cure a person with word of mouth alone because they realize power of mind is needed. And a lawyer can dishearten a client on one visit if he don't have a personality of victory. Like Joe Frazier, for an example. He's the champion, they say. Number one, he don't have the personality. He can't talk. Very few boxers can get on this show and match wits with wise men like yourself.
Mm.
And
Wits
Plus-
is all I want to match with you.
And very few fighters, if you take the camera on close up, you see my nose and my face. I'm not ugly. I'm not ugly like most fighters. They have noses like that, and their ears are like that. How you feel, champ? I'm pretty. I'm a pretty fighter. And I can, I have a personality. I know how to talk to the wine heads. I have a talk for the your great Mr. Lynch here in the Parliament House, and I knew how to talk to men like you with less intelligence than myself. And no, I was only joking. Just listen to the people
Joke
laugh.
away.
Just listen to the people laugh. Just listen to them laugh. Very few comedians can do this, and that's their job. So like I'm saying, it's personality that attracts. I mean, people of all religions, like in America, I stand up for black people, and regardless to what it costs me, I speak out for what I believe. Like you got people in Ireland fighting for what they believe. I represent this. Also, the draft was something out of my religion teach against, and this made me popular with many people. Then you got the white racists who believe in separation, such as I believe one day the black people in America must go to self, clean up self, help self, do for self. I recognize them. Then you got all the Muslims in Saudi Arabia, Pakistan, Syria, Lebanon, India, all throughout Kuwait, Abu Dhabi, all throughout Libya. They all recognize me because of the name Muhammad Ali. And you add all of this up, all I represent, and then my confidence. I am the greatest. I cannot lose. I'm pretty. And every man believes he's the greatest. Every man would like to be the greatest. Many want to say this, but they fear it. And they see this in myself, and some hate me for it, and some love me for it. So add it all up, and we have a large crowd. Well, Joe Frazier's ugly, he's flat-footed, he can't talk, he can't sing, he can't fight, and no
He can't
personality. No, he's a slugger, street fighter.
Why do you
He's
think?
not, Joe Frazier's not, don't get me wrong, Joe Frazier's good with his stuff, he's not skillful. Joe Frazier's known for taking a lot of punches. He's not like Floyd Patterson, or say Sugar Ray Robinson, or Joe Louis, or say Jack Johnson, Jack Dempsey. These were great scientific boxers. See, Joe Frazier will take 5 punches to hit you once. So
Why do you think he beat you, Muhammad, then the last time?
Well, the reason that he got the decision, if you looked at my face and his face after the fight, both eyes were closed, his nose was bloody, his lips was cut, his head was swollen, and he spent 1 month in the hospital. Did you all hear it?
Yeah, surely.
He spent 30 days of intensive care. No phone calls and no visitors. And that's a terrible beating when you have to stay rest for 30 days. But he got the decision. But I'm not complaining. Next time I'll get him. I played too much with him. And plus, I find at the time I was bucking the draft system. I didn't go to the service. and I found out the 3 of the judges was on the local draft board. That's why I lost.
We'll come back to that if we can in just a moment, but could we sort of go right to the beginning of your career? What made you take up boxing as a child in Louisville?
Well, at 12 years old, someone stole my bicycle. I went to a home show where they display cars and refrigerators and household utensils and everything. And I went there and left my bicycle outside and came out. It was a drizzling rain that night, a Saturday evening, about 9 o'clock. The bicycle was gone. I just got it for Christmas. Somebody asked me, I asked where was the nearest police officer. And they said in the basement, the same building that I just came out. And a fellow named Joe Martin was training amateur boxers in a room about this size. And he asked me to take out an application and learn how to fight so I can beat the fella up in joking fashion who stole my bicycle. So I started boxing.
This led you on eventually to the Olympics. Was this your goal as a child and as a